We're trying to say that you're either red or that you're blue.
Right.
The idea that you can split all of us into two camps is kind of nuts,
It's nuts.
you know?
Yeah, it's nuts. In this country in particular, I don't know about Australian politics, but we only have two parties, and they're both essentially financed by enormous corporations. So it's a ruse. The whole thing's a ruse. And
Right.
you have different social issues on each side that come up, and then it becomes this: you're with us or against us, right versus left. But there's
It's going nowhere good.
nowhere good.
Rogan is saying the quiet part out loud. The red-blue fight is loud, but the money is louder. And when the cash is feeding both sides, the team sport, politics, starts to look like a distraction. Let's run the clip because the numbers make the point better than opinions do.
Let's do that. Rogan is right. Special interest groups fund both parties. Take crypto, for example. After the 2024 election, CNN reported this. The cryptocurrency industry's leading super PACs plowed $131 million into congressional races this election cycle to help elect dozens of pro-crypto lawmakers, while individual billionaires with crypto interests, they spent millions to help return Donald Trump to the White House. Crypto super PACs spend heavily on Republicans as well as key Democrats. How about the banking and real estate industry? According to OpenSecrets, they've donated nearly the exact same amount to congressional Republicans and Democrats since 1990, topping $4.5 billion total.
Here's the part that nobody wants to admit. If the same industries are investing in both sides, then the outcome is already priced in. You can swap the players, same owners, same scoreboard. That doesn't mean both sides are identical on every issue. It means the money has hedged its bet.
I mean, just look at it. It's even split just about. Money to Congress from the financial insurance real estate industry. That is what the graph shows. The defense industry also poured money into candidates on both sides of the aisle with contributions exceeding $300 million. So the corruption is definitely bipartisan, and the American people know this. 84% of respondents in a Pew Research poll agreed special interest groups and lobbyists have too much to say in what happens in politics. And that is true for both Republicans and Democrats. So yeah, this is no surprise to you, Jank, and you've been talking about this for, gosh, I don't know how many, I don't want to age you, but probably decades at this point. But this has been going on for so long. Why now? Why now are people waking up? Will it matter? Will it make a difference?
Yeah. So I think it will eventually make a difference. I think the revolution has begun. We literally do a show called The Revolution now at 8 o'clock Eastern, right after the Young Turks. That's 6 to 8 every day. And I now see it not just on the left, but also on the right and the middle, right? So Rogan backed Trump this summer. Before he backed Bernie, I think it's fair to say that Rogan's independent. I think it's also fair to say that he maybe these days leans a little right, maybe a lot right in some of the instances. And we certainly disagree with him on some of the culture war issues, et cetera. But it's super refreshing and it's wonderful to hear that he gets it. The whole thing's a play, guys. And by the way, the people who put on the play is chapter 5 of my book. That's mainstream media. That I called it The Matrix. And so now it's funny because some others on the right also call it The Matrix because it's The Matrix. Because corporate media tells you, and it's the most important arm of corporate rule, it's the #1 shield and weapon that they have. They'll tell you, no, money in politics is not that big a deal. That's why they almost never talk about it. So when legislation is being discussed, there's money being poured in by the hundreds of millions of dollars. In fact, later in today's show, we're gonna have a discussion about the big pharma, which is one of the biggest lobbying groups in the whole country that represent the drug companies, of course. They've spent $3.6 billion lobbying over the last 3 decades. You think they spent $3.6 billion for their health? No, they're buying up all of our politicians. That's why we have these preposterous laws that say we're not allowed to negotiate drug prices, that a company can set the price and that's it, you got to pay it. You don't have a choice. That's not capitalism. That's not the free market. No, this is corporatism.
This is why people feel crazy. You're told to obsess over cultural war headlines, while the one issue that would unite most Americans gets treated like background noise. If you ever wondered why common sense reform dies quietly, follow what gets discussed and what gets avoided.
Corporations have completely taken over, and they have this faux battle between the Democrats and the Republicans, usually about cultural war issues. That's how they divide you and get you to fight the people on your left or the people on your right, when of course, you know what I'm gonna say. You should be looking up, look up. The rando on your left doesn't have and even if the right wing is right about Antifa, like, oh my God, there's a dude in Portland and he protests too hard and he did something, they did graffiti, Antifa. You think that brother had enough power to rig the whole system? Or a guy on the right, oh, that guy's racist and he's terrible. The brother's living in a rental in the middle of Nebraska. He doesn't have any power. The guy who came in and crossed the border a minute ago that barely has $1 in his pocket, he doesn't have any power. The guys with the power, the guys with the money up top, the donors. So Sharon, I think that the Great Awakening began with Epstein and Israel, right? When Trump came in after saying, oh, we're going to release Epstein files, we're going to release the Epstein files. And he came in and was like, oh, I'm just kidding. I'm a liar, just like everyone else. I'm protecting the elites, just like everyone else. I'm the establishment, just like everyone else. I'm going to screw you and no lube on Epstein, period. I'm never going to give it what you want. I was lying all the way and I'm going to protect the guilty, okay? So then he goes, and then on Israel, oh, I'm going to give them whatever they want. Okay, Mary made it so good to me. To give me a little money. So now I take your money and I give it to Israel. And slowly the right wing started to wake up, right? And we're going to talk about this more in the show later with Rogan versus Shapiro. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, guys. So that's a foreign government that's influencing our politics. And other foreign governments try to. Israel's by far the best at it. But Big Pharma is 10 times the size of the Israeli lobby. So that's why they have these enormous monopolies. They used to have patents that lasted 5 years. Now they last 12 years for a lot of these drugs. We're not allowed to negotiate prices. They have complete control over the market. They make us pay at least 4 times as much as other developed nations.
If you're tired of red versus blue script, hit like and subscribe. Straight Fire Politics is where we focus on incentives, not tribal nonsense. Drop a comment. What's one reform you think would reduce corruption the most?